Like him too, he my man, he my boo, he my type, he's so cute. I want him and I want him too. I like him.
Hey guys, welcome back. So it's day 3. We just had a scary ass dream and something was on our back and it was this like creepy like girl. And now Gregor is yelling at me to wake up. So wake up! Sorry, you were making strange noises in your sleep. What's going on, Gregor? Did the lightning wake you up? It woke me up. I tried to fall back asleep, but it's so loud. Let's just get back to sleep and talk about this in the morning. Everyone nods in agreement and gets back to bed. Also, sorry, I'm all congested. I'm trying. Except for me. I can't fall back asleep. I still have goosebumps from the nightmare. Karen's snoring is louder than a sawmill. I find it very loud and distracting. I don't sleep a wink. Everyone is now up and awake in the cabin. We hear the front door open and quickly slam shut. Anatoly sounds petrified. That's creepy. I looked out the door and we're completely surrounded by floodwaters. Looks like sailors take warning was more appropriate for today. Maybe it'll clear up tomorrow? You can't steal big guy's optimism, Karen. Why the hell not? That's all he has going for him. He's also good at chopping wood though. Knock it off, you two. Mariah, do you think it'll clear up tomorrow? I give it a 27% chance of it clearing up tomorrow. Based on what? I was bored stiff, so I read a book on local precipitation levels for the last 20 years in the living room. Sounds like you're stealing Anatoly's thunder. Anatoly, you're a book nerd, right? Why didn't you read it? Couldn't make it past the cover. Is that right? Yes. That bookshelf has some great books on artisan crafting and natural sciences. Why let them sit there gathering dust? How did you arrive at a 27% chance of it clearing up tomorrow? It's easy. Take the time of year, multiply it by a factor of... Okay, she begins to explain meteorology, and she's not dumbing any of it down. Basically random. So the first thing you need to understand, and then minutes of explanation felt like hours. So you look over at Anatoly. He's listening intently. So intently he hasn't blinked yet. You can see his eyes drying up. A tear rolls down one of his cheeks. This is brutal to watch. She finally wrapped up her lecture and ends with a bow. Nobody clapped. But Mariah, that was awe-inspiring. You lost me a few minutes in, but it's okay. I don't understand a word of it. Anatoly turned to me. Anyway, there's no telling how long this will last. We can't leave the cabin until these floodwaters stop. I know our flood situation is a little tight, but I know you'll make the right decision. I believe in you. Me too. It looks like we have enough leftover berries for more bread and raspberry jam. He just wants crusty bread. With everyone stranded in the cabin, I need to keep everyone fed and happy. I sneak out to the kitchen while everyone's still talking. Can I talk to the chompette? So I got out more crusty bread and started making jam. With the kitchen to myself, I decided to check in on the chompette. Don't worry, as a leader of the chompette, I'll make sure none of the humans know about us. That big guy would try eating me like an apple, so definitely don't tell them about us. Are your plans going awry? Got another cornbread classic for you. Did you hear about the bread maker's bakery burning down? No, her business is now toast. That one's been done to death. Do you know how raspberry and milk were introduced? I told her no. Raspberry milk shake. These are so corny. Did cornbread teach you that one? Nope. Wasted an entire day thinking about that terrible pun. It was well worth the time and effort, Raspberry. Maybe you'll win the annual Chompette comedy competition this year. Not while I am here. I won't choke on stage this year. Isn't that every year, Bread? We're still talking about that closing line, Bread. You're going to do great this year. Anyways, don't even think of eating us if you're hungry. Chompettes stick together through thick and thin. Rain or shine. Feast or famine. Potato, I swear. God, repeat the line or we're locking you up again. Life or death. That's right. Chompettes, move out! The Chompettes somehow manage to close the drawer on themselves. I bring the crusty bread and jam into the living room. Karen interrupts me as I bring the food. Took you long enough. She looks at the 2 slices of bread left and the mason jar of raspberry jam. There's mold on these 2 last slices of bread. Karen's right. What the hell is the matter with you? I grip the knife tightly in my hand. You think this is enough for 5 of us? Wait, we can't throw this bread away. It's all we have left. Gregor's right. Anatoly, will mold spores give us food poisoning? I'm no scientist, sorry. Let's just pick off as much of the mold as we can. We can't leave with the floodwaters, so this will have to last us another day. They ripped apart their piece like a pack of wolves. Gregor seems to unhinge his jaw and eat it in one bite. He looks like a duck eating bread. Thanks again. Bread and jam isn't much of a meal, but it's more than we had when we left the Ukraine. Plenty of rainwater outside, so at least we won't die of dehydration information, but until the storm is over, nobody should leave the cabin. Should clear up if we give it just a chance. Anatoly, where are you getting that information from? One of the books on the bookshelf about climate here. You're illiterate, so that's definitely a lie. I've seen him reading. Little guy's been studying. I'm serious. He pretends to read those books because he wants us to think that he's smart. I can tell he's just staring at the page and faking it. What do you think? We'll take Anatoly's side, because, like, how can you tell someone they can't read? You aren't fooling anyone, Anatoly. She stormed off. Why does she care? She's crazy. Thanks for backing me up. I got a relationship point. Good to have someone so positive around. Anatoly looks relieved. You think he'll remember that. I guess let's call it a day. Yeah, sure. They go to the sleeping areas, and 10 minutes later, hey, Karen likes to find somebody's weakness and use it against them when she's frustrated. I just wanted to thank you for backing me up earlier. You're very sweet to do that. He looked at me with a look of admiration. See you tomorrow. He looks like he's blushing as he walks away. I'm definitely sure Anatoly will remember, and my relationship was stronger. So that's good. I'm gaining. So it looks like I'm doing the game right. It's a little concerning. I get ready for bed and put a blanket on. I go to bed very hungry. Relatable to right now, I'm fucking hungry. It's day 4. You don't dream the entire night, but you sleep through everyone waking up. And that's how fast a deer can run if startled. Whoa! Incredible. Impressive. I wish we had deer here. With the food getting lower, let's skip today's meal. No! It's only for one day. Various cultures and religions have practiced fasting throughout history. That doesn't make us feel any better, Anatoly. What options do we have? Our food wasn't rationed properly. He leaves mumbling. So passive aggressive. They all go off to a separate area. Alright, who do I want to speak to? Let's talk with Anatoly because he was just upset. So I'll go chase him. I'm done using the bathroom. Sorry, must have been daydreaming. He looks at me oddly. Do you ever daydream? You bet. Of course. A natural way to fill in gaps of boredom. And what do you daydream about? Cooking? I thought so. I can tell you have a history with cooking, so I can tell he's struggling with small talk. What's the best thing you've ever cooked? A feast fit for a queen. A royal feast? Wonder who it was for. You'll have to tell me sometime, okay? He's looking at me dreamily. He will definitely remember that. I'm doing good. Ooh. See, I hope I made him feel better because it's not my fault that I rationed poorly. I decide to head back to the others. I don't even want to get close to Karen. Karen's fucking stupid. Everyone looks pretty down this evening. Wish the rain would just stop. You're all doing great. We must almost be at the end of this nightmare. I'm so hungry. Me too. I am too. I wish everyone a good night and get ready for bed. I go to bed with a growling stomach. I have a strange dream. A boy is yelling at me in the kitchen. I keep telling him to lie down on the tray, but he keeps shaking his head, calling me names. So I do it. I lie down on the tray and make my body as flat as a board. I show him how it's done. His anger turns to courage, and he pushes you into the oven. As the stench of burning hair fills your lungs, you see him sneering back at you. You wake in a cold sweat. Holy jeez. Ooh, this is getting scary. Everyone seems to be sleeping in later than normal. Their stomachs must have kept them awake all night. The rain is still pouring outside. I can barely make out the trees from the windows. I hear a stirring of blankets, arms, and legs. Mariah looks petrified. I couldn't sleep. Anatoly has bags under his eyes. This storm is too loud. Karen looks out of it. The cabin was creaking so much last night. It sounded alive. I got a good look out the window. And? Couldn't see anything. Great observation, Gregor. I was so hungry last night, I kept pacing around my bed. When is this going to end? I checked outside the door again. Floodwaters keep rising. Unfortunately, we're going to need to stay put unless one of us wants to drown in rainwater. As soon as the weather lets up, we'll be able to scavenge for supplies. How close is the nearest town? I don't know. Didn't you have a map on you? I think I dropped it while we were running after Gregor. I'm sure it'll show up eventually. What if this is like some Blair Witch Project shit and like one of them actually took it, you know? Did you guys ever see that like conspiracy of it? They were blaming the girl for losing the map, but like the last place she gave it was like to the guy, and they ended up like, yeah. So did he really lose the map, or is it just in a place he knows and he's just not telling us because there's some shady stuff going on? Mariah and Anatoly go white as a sheet. How are we going to find our way back now? We'll have to ride out the storm. We're down to our last slice of bread. I don't know how much longer we can put off eating. It will clear up in no time. Maybe you're right. They look worried and they all gravitate to an area. I can tell Gregor's putting on a fake optimism and Mariah's having trouble. Which one do I want to speak with? Honestly, Mariah seems to be a little stronger for Gregor to waver in his optimism. He brings the group up, so I need to go converse with him because I need to make him feel better for the morale. Oh, hey, I know you already searched the kitchen, but I had to double check. A fool's errand. I wish everyone was in better spirit. It can't rain forever, right? Rainfall in this area can last days to weeks. You tell Gregor to stay strong. You know what? Thank you. The group is really thankful for your kindness. He blushes a little bit. I always wanted to be the one that kept everyone in good spirit. It's obvious you do that much better. He's looking at me fondly. I'm sure he will remember that. Glad our relationship's stronger. I'm sad, though, that he was feeling like that, but hopefully he can bring everyone else back up now because he was the pillar. The rain is pounding hard against the wood cabin, but at least none of it's getting inside. I tell Gregor to keep his spirits up and join the other. I call everyone together and they all look grim. You could cut the tension in the room with a knife. Everyone's staring at me. They're expecting the last piece of bread for dinner. I bring it out. Everyone can't take their eyes off of it. I instruct everyone to take a pinch and slowly all 5 of you tear it apart like a wishbone. Everyone studies their piece of bread carefully, wondering how long it will last. Karen is the first to eat hers. She chews each bite 100 times before swallowing. Anatoly chews it cautiously, opening his mouth once he finishes each bite. Mariah nibbles on it silently, eyes wide, moving from person to person. And Gregor just pops it in his mouth like a cherry. It was gone in an instant. That's so sad. The group thanks you awkwardly. It's not much, but you've run out of options. You wish everyone good night and get ready for bed. You go to bed starving. Now it's day 6. Good morning. Morning. Let me check if the rain has stopped. It's still flooding. What are we going to do? Humans can live about 2 to 3 weeks without food. Water isn't a concern. Rainfall should end in a day or 2, right? Actually, precipitation can occur more than 215 days a year here. But do you really think it'll rain that long? And, oh my god. Anatoly, it's been days already. What makes you think it will stop soon? Relax, everyone. Let's see how long we can ride this out. Fingers crossed it's done by tomorrow. Panic is slowly creeping in. Everyone's looking scared, but you need to survive. Karen and Gregor begin to discuss the next options. Do you want to speak with Mariah in the kitchen or Anatoly in the living room? We'll speak with Mariah because Anatoly I already have relationship with. We'll try and get my relationship up with her. Mariah looks relieved to see you. How are you holding up? Better question, how are you holding up? Not very good. That's sweet of you to ask. She got a little closer to me. I noticed you didn't use any meat when cooking. Usually I have to pick it out of foods the others make, but you respected that. Thank you. She looks at me with admiration. I need to speak with Gregor for a minute, but thanks again. I'm definitely sure Mariah will remember that. And I got 2 hearts, so I'm gaining relationship quick with them. I decide to check out the drawer again. I ask Potato where the others are. They'll be back. They wanted to explore the labyrinth of tunnels around the cabin. Surely you've seen the mouse holes, right? They connect all over the cabin. Must have been some mouse that created them, or something worse. Anyways, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Things are going to get worse from here on out. I have a feeling he's telling the truth. I realize some drool is leaking out of my mouth. Disgusting. Don't ever even try to eat me. You'd just get deathly sick if you tried. And from the look of you, you'd need to retain all the water you can. From rationing to cooking, you've failed every common sense measure for basic survival this week. You knew something like this would happen, right? Never mind. With floodwaters rising and no food now, I think it'd be a great time to go over the fundamentals of starvation with you. When experiencing starvation, there are 4 factors that will determine if you live or die. Age, height, weight, and your degree of activity or inactivity. You've been especially lazy, so I think you'll survive a little longer than the others. The Harris-Benedict equation can help you figure out how many calories you need to simply maintain your current weight. The equation produces a number called the basal metabolic rate, or BMR. Stay with me here. BMR equals 655 plus 4.35 times weight in pounds plus 4.7 times height in inches minus 4.7 times age in years. Got it? For fun, let's try it out on someone here. Mariah. Using Harris-Benedict, she looks like she's 120 pounds, 5 feet 5 inches, about 20 years old. Crunching the numbers, I think she needs about 1,388 calories daily, but that's being abnormally stationary. She'd have to lay in bed all day, all night, just eating breathing, and using her brain. Not very common when you're starving to death. People tend to get up more. If she was being very active, let's say, swimming through floodwaters, we'd need to multiply that 1,388 calories by 1.9. So now, she needs 2,638 calories per day. That's quite the difference, especially if you didn't ration the food properly, which you didn't. I guess that wraps up our first survival lesson. Hopefully we'll never have to speak again, okay? I shut the drawer going over the numbers again. I don't think any of us can take this much longer. I don't want to ask this, but it's time. One of us needs to go outside and search for food. Everyone's silent. I'll go. Mariah! I used to swim all the time near my house, so I probably have the best chance of swimming through the floodwaters. No! Let me go instead. You won't get very far if anything happens to your glasses, Anatoly. You're blind as a mole rat, remember? It's true, but... So Gregor wants to go. And Karen's saying, sounds good to me. His arms are definitely the longest, so he'd probably have the best chance of climbing trees out of all of us. No, that wouldn't be right, Gregor. Let me go instead. I get that none of these options are good ones, but we need to find food or help. Gregor grabs a branch from the wood pile. He cuts it into different measurements. Since we can't come to a consensus, let's draw for it. We'll each pick one from my hand, and the shortest will go outside and search for food. I'm not worried about drawing. I saw him cut the branch length, so I could tell which one's the biggest of the bunch. I pick it. I watch the others intently. Will it be Gregor? Anatoly? Karen? Looks like I've got the shortest. Mariah. It's okay. I watched Anatoly forage earlier, so I'll know what to look out for. Just swim until you find higher ground and scout the area. Maybe you'll find a fish out there. Everyone looks heartbroken. Karen, Anatoly, and Gregor, I'll keep us alive. I promise. She promised. Everyone watches as Mariah leaves the cabin. The silence is deafening. Goodbye. Does everyone think she's dying? You can faintly hear her yell about how cold the water is, and then silence. Mariah has left the cabin. I'm sure we'll see her again. The rest of the group nods. Everyone stays up, waiting and waiting. The sun has completely set. One by one, each person quietly shuffles off to bed. You get ready for bed and easily pass out. You have a strange dream. The two women in front of you could be twins. One of them you recognize, the other is a guest. You ask the guest to sit on a shovel, and then you try pushing it into the oven. Her legs are so strong, you can't get her into the oven. I curse at her repeatedly. Like this! I hiss, and I stretch out my legs until my toes are almost sticking into the coals. You feel 4 hands on your shoulders, and both of them push you in. The familiar smell of smoke and burning hair causes you to throw up in the embers. You can't let it end like this. You rip the metal door off the oven, tearing through the wood logs of the cabin. Screaming, you chase the two through the woods, your burns chill with the wind. The guest looks behind her, and eyes widen when she sees you. She's terrified. Your fury rips trees out by their roots, soil from the ground, rocks from their pits. You've never been this angry in your entire life. Their stamina can't last forever. You're gaining on them. As you trample through a field of wheat, the guest throws a piece of cloth behind her. You catch the glint of it in the sun, golden. As if by magic, the earth splits in front of you, creating a chasm of fire below. You fall into the pit, screaming, as your eyes begin to sizzle from the heat. Hellfire fills your lungs. You're unable to scream anymore. You wake in a cold sweat. Alright, day 7. I think that's going to be the end for this video. Mariah, did she die? I don't know. So let's see what goes on whenever we come back. Thank you guys for watching.